Could we start with your team news ahead of tomorrow's game?
Team news from Tuesday night, we lost Perez for a while for ankle injury. Hopefully we'll recover, but I think he will be 6 to 8 weeks out. And of course, as you have seen, we have Giroud back available. We have Aaron Ramsey will be in the squad tomorrow, coming back. So we are now basically November. We have not played, so it's good to have them back. And we have a few uncertainties about Walcott, Monreal, Cazorla, but we have all tests today.
Are Giroud and Ramsey at the stage where they can go straight into the starting 11, or are they more likely to be on bench?
Look, they are available for selection. I have to be a bit cautious, especially with Aaron Ramsey, because he has not played at all yet, and he has only 1 week with the team, so I will be a bit cautious with him.
You haven't lost a Premier League away game since February. What is it that makes your team so resilient on the road?
Well, the fact that we are basically have a good solidarity and that we play away from home with a full desire to win the games. As well, that we have improved our defensive quality, I believe, that overall. But it's all in question every time, you know. We go tomorrow, we have a tricky game tomorrow, early, and I think overall we have to just be inspired by what we have realized until now and continue to improve.
And finally from me, it's been quite a tough start to the season for Sunderland, but where do you see their main dangers tomorrow?
Well, their main danger is Defoe, basically because they are as well on good on set pieces with Cazorla. They have a strong midfield. They are good on set pieces. We have Kone, O'Shea, who are dangerous as well on set pieces, you know. So overall, they are a team who is at the moment in a bad position, but it's early in the season, and the difference, it's very tight at the top and very tight at the bottom as well, so there's no differences made anywhere.
In terms of Perez, is it particularly frustrating for him to pick up this injury now, just as starting to integrate him in, and he's probably learning more about what it takes to be an Arsenal player and getting closer to being...
Yes, it's very frustrating because he worked very hard to get there, and now he's close, you know. Of course, he's absolutely gutted because it's an injury coming from nowhere, and a stupid one, because it was a kick, deliberate kick, and finally it's a similar tackle to Xhaka, but was no red card. But anyway, the red card would not have helped Perez. What is the most important is that he's out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Seems like that tackle has left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth for you. You don't seem happy with it.
With?
The kick that he got?
No, because it was not needed, you know. But I think it was more frustrated reaction from the player. He had no chance to get the ball like that. But you have to deal with that. Sometimes you get away with it. Sometimes you get a bad injury. But in this case, it's unfortunate.
What are you missing when you're missing Santi Cazorla?
Look, the pass from deep midfield to high midfield, basically, and the security on the ball, getting out of pressure. When we are closed down, you know, it gets you out of tight situations and creates openings for the team. And with as well a good understanding between him and Mesut Özil.
And obviously all of that is fundamental to where you play, isn't it?
Yes, yes, but you know, for example, against Middlesbrough, people say yes, Santi did not play. Yes, of course, but I believe that we had enough domination, enough quality to win the game on the pitch, and that's where we have to find a solution even when Santi is not there, and that's no matter how big Santi is, and God knows that I rate him highly. We have as well drawn games with Santi, you know, and lost games with him as well. So we have to find a solution with the players who are on the pitch.
Is it worse if he's missing and Xhaka is suspended? Because Xhaka's got that quality too, hasn't he?
Yes, he's as well a good pass of the ball from deep midfield to high midfield.
It's been on the agenda a bit this week, what's happening at West Ham, and I know it's a few weeks away that you go there in the start of December. How disappointed were you with the scenes that we saw this week, and how damaging is it for the English game?
I'm surprised even more than disappointed, because West Ham is usually a very strong fan base, very motivated, and as well, we are not used in England to face this kind of problems anymore. And personally, I'm in favour of the resurgence of standing opportunities behind the goals, you know, and that is not a very good advert to come back to standing opportunities for people in the stand. So I'm surprised, and hopefully West Ham will get rid of the problem very, very quickly.
Do you think that sets back then the argument for trying standing areas?
Yeah, of course, it's against completely, and it gives an argument especially to people who are against it.
Yeah. Could you see it getting to the point where a game is played behind closed doors? Do you think it could go that far?
There's nothing more dull than that. I prefer not to play than playing games behind closed doors.
This summer, the transfer policy, so you bring in three quality players, and in some quarters you get criticised for that. But are you seeing now the benefits of only having to integrate three into your group? You've got such a consistency.
Yes, of course. We have a big squad, you know. We have a big squad, and I believe a competitive squad is where the competition is fair inside the squad. If you have too many, there's no competition, because some players will never play. If there's not enough competition, and so it's detrimental as well. So we have opted for a short number and quality, but disrupts less the way we play football and the technical stability.
And I wanted to ask you just lastly about Jermaine Defoe. You mentioned him earlier. He went off to MLS, and it looked like that could be the direction that his career was going, but to come back into the Premier League, keep scoring, keep having an impact at 34, he's kind of defying his age and the traditional path, isn't he?
Yes, you have to admire Defoe for what he has done, because you think when a guy like him at his age moved to United States, that was the end for him in the Premier League, and he came back, had a huge impact, and certainly it's down to him that Sunderland stayed in the league last year. And there must be a big passion behind that. I don't know him well, but he is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Can I just check on Theo Walcott? Is he ill at the minute? Is that right?
No, he's not ill. There's a slight hamstring alert, a very minor one. He will have a test today.
Even if he doesn't play against Sunderland, is it minor enough that he should be okay next week?
Should be okay Tuesday. If it's not tomorrow, it's okay for Tuesday.
You've said in the past you're not a fan of the Ballon d'Or.
Of?
The Ballon d'Or.
No.
Individual prize. But what's
that has not changed.
Yeah, I didn't think it would have. But what's your reaction to Mesut being among the 30 candidates?
Certainly it's a big satisfaction for him and for us as well, but I'm against it, because I think it gets in the head of players. We have seen many people only thinking about themselves because they're obsessed by Ballon d'Or and not anymore by the team performance. And I believe football is a collective sport, and we live already in a world where everything is individualized, and we want to respect what football is about. Is first about the team effort.
Do you not even mention it then? Would you not go and say, well done, Mesut, because you don't...
Yeah, of course. I encourage and congratulate the players who do well, and I'm happy for that. But when you look at the history, many times we do not always think that it has been the most objective decisions always. And I think the players who are the best, we know all about them, and it's not. Let's take care of those who are not as much in the glory. You know, all the best. We know all about them.
FIFA are no longer with France Football on the award for the first time in I think 6 years. Does that change, maybe reduce the importance of the Ballon d'Or prize?
I don't know.
Just one more on Ozil. Is there any update at all on a contract for him, a new contract?
Nothing really concrete enough to talk about it.
But it's moving along.
Sorry.
It's moving along.
Yeah, it's moving along.
In terms of looking at the title ambitions this season, Arsene, in terms of your title ambitions, dropping points last weekend, is there an element of feeling a little bit of pressure going into this Sunderland game?
Yeah, of course, the pressure is on every week for everybody, and as you said, we said it's very tight at the top. You know, 2 points, I think, for 5 teams difference. So every game, of course, becomes important. But as well, on the other hand, you have to not to be fooled by that. You win the games when your performance is right. So let's focus on what is important. That means the quality of our performance. Last week we had 75% of the ball and could not score. So we know that we have to use the ball better in a more efficient way.
We know that you're in your 20th season, but do you think that you learnt more from the experience last season than any other in your career here?
I try always to learn, you know, and I think if I have maybe one quality, I try to learn from everything, and every year I learn things, more or less. I think what we learned all last season is that a team like Leicester can win the championship and lose only 3 games. Nobody would have predicted that before the start of the season, and that's why I think it will be very tight again this year.
Also, you've come up against David Moyes when he was at Everton. Going up against David Moyes' team, are there any things that you're expecting from him to put out with the Sunderland team when facing Arsenal? Well,
David Moyes is an experienced manager who has, I think, 15 seasons of the Premier League. So I think he will adapt to the strengths of his team and certainly organize their team that they can defend very well and catch us on moments of breaks, situations we have, or on set pieces.
Do you think he's recovered from what happened to him at Man United?
I think so. I think once you're out of an experience, you go into the next one and you focus just to give your best for your next club. And I think why should he not have recovered? He's not. You dwell on it when you sit at home and you have no job. Once you have a job, you focus on doing the best where you are.
Just take you back to safe standing. You're talking about being in favour of it. Why are you so in favour of it?
But I feel the closest you are to the position of the player, the more passionate you are about, you know. And as well, because it would allow to have lower prices because you could get more spectators inside the stadiums, and maybe even a more passionate atmosphere inside the stadiums.
For the scenes that we saw at West Ham in midweek, is there a danger of us getting carried away with it, or maybe thinking football's got more of a problem with hooliganism than it has?
I think basically I don't believe that there's a problem with hooliganism in England, because you cannot as well say that one minor incident, I've heard that about 200 people, is a general problem in the country.
I mean, the next, as Andy said, the next big London derby is against Arsenal at that stage. Mm-hmm. Do you have any concerns about playing there, given what's happening?
No, honestly, no.
Can I just check Nacho Monreal's injury? What's the doubt?
It's a little muscle tightness.